Today we're talking to St Albans City manager Ian Allinson down by the banks of the Thames, where the Saints have gone down to a 2-1 National League South defeat to, as you notice on the sign there, Hampton and Richmond Borough. The game in, we started really well, got an early goal from Zane Banton. We looked quite lively then, and Hampton didn't look a threat, but suddenly they got 2 goals almost out of nowhere, and they looked a different side. And I thought, although the game was pretty even after that, the attacking threat, the dangerous attacking threat, came from them rather than us.
Yeah, I think, as I said, David, it was the first 20 minutes was excellent. We were on the front foot, we were bright, we scored the goal, had a couple of other half chances. And I said it to Chris Winton, after about 20 minutes I felt our ball retention in the forward areas wasn't good enough today. We didn't hold the ball up well enough. We didn't allow ourselves to get up the pitch. And then they started to put us under a little bit of pressure, and I felt they felt their way into the game. And I think through our couple of really mistakes or switching off or not doing things correctly has allowed them back into the game, and with the chances we gave them in that little 10-minute spell, they've snapped up 2, got in front, and I think it gave them the lift that they were after. Second half I didn't think there was much in it at all. I felt we were chasing the game, which we had to. We was always going to leave ourselves a little bit exposed by chasing the game with their 2 forwards and the pace they've got, and we knew that, and that's why it was important to stay in front before the half time. But unfortunately lapsed the concentration really in the second goal, because it was a drop ball for us on their 18-yard box, and before we know where we are, we're 2-1 down. But as I said, I felt the lads played, they put a load of application in today. They tried really hard. I felt, as I said earlier, I didn't think that the hold-up play in the forward area was good enough. It didn't allow us to get up the pitch. It didn't allow us to bring players into the game, and it was more of a long ball all the time. But we got in 4 or 5 really good areas in the second half, but I felt our final cross, our final decision-making, or our final pass wasn't good enough, and that was probably what let us down. When you look at chances in the game, Dean's had to make a couple diving at people's feet late on, but I think Scotty Shorten's chance, Jefferson's chance, and Joe's chance were opportunities there that we could have got something out of the game if we take it. And I think overall, if you look at our 4 or 5 really good chances against their 3 or 4, probably about even. But as you say, they probably had more possession in the second half because we were chasing the game.
As you say, we got in those good positions, but at one end, Dean Snedker didn't have saves to make really. Bears had even less.
No, but I think you also got to take in, people don't, from the sidelines don't understand really the condition of the pitch. The pitch wasn't great. I mean, obviously we've played the game, but I think it was the same for both sides. So, it's cut up quite badly out there. It doesn't look too bad now, but there's lots of divots, and I think the concentration levels have to be really spot on, because one bad bounce there or one ball not obviously running correctly for you will cause a problem. But I felt our decision making in that last 15 or 20 minutes was what let us down, even though we did create 1 or 2 half chances. I think they defended well, and in the end, as I say, they probably defended the hill better than we did in the first half.
I'm just getting my clipboard here, Ian. Substitutions late on. Took top goal scorer off, Joey Schifano. Unfortunately, it wasn't one of his better days in front of goal. You gave a chance to a young lad from Barnet.
Yeah, as I said to you before, Joe's performance today wasn't good enough, and I've told him that in there. We expect more from him. He has scored 15 goals, but he's got to do all his work in and around the 18-yard box. If you look in the first half, he's picking the ball up in right wing areas, left wing areas, and in areas where he's not going to be a threat. He scored all 15 goals by being in the box. So, and we've got a target man in Jefferson and Sam, then you've got to go and work around him, and I didn't think that happened today. I think there was lots of work in poor areas, so we're going to have to go and work with him again on Tuesday. I think his hold-up play in the first half wasn't good enough, and it kept breaking down, and I said at half-time there was 5 opportunities in the first half where he had the ball to get us up the park, and he gave the ball away. So, we can talk about being a top goal scorer, but there's also the other side of the game that's got to be right. So you have to work hard for the team, you have to be a team member, and you can't be an individual, because individuals in the end get nothing in life. You have to be a team, and you have to work together as a team, and I didn't think that happened today. But he'll work hard at his game. He's one of them that thinks a lot about his game. He wants to improve. He wants to do things in training, and if you watch him in training on Thursday night, he was excellent, and that's why I expected more from him today. But again, ball retention is massive from that side of it, and we give Donny and Andronicus the opportunity late on, and I felt he looked bright. He got in 1 or 2 really good areas, and I just felt that final pass or that final cross just let him down from that. But he looked bright. He got on the ball, got in a couple of good areas. But as I say, we've got to take into consideration the pitch, but also got to take into consideration that that final pass could have been the difference between us getting a second goal and not today, and I think that's what let us down, especially in that last 15-20 minutes.
2 weeks ago, highly critical of defence at Eastbourne. Last week I thought they gave their best performance of the season. Today they were given problems.
I think it was a handful with the two forwards. I mean, as I said to you before, I watched Hampton on 2 occasions this year. One of them certainly at Beveree, and they gave Beveree a lot of problems. I feel we handled them well at home back in December. I didn't think we handled them as well today, but they're a handful for any team in this league, and if you give them opportunities, they stick them away. But if you look at the way they chase and they harried and they put our defenders under pressure, we need more of that from our forwards at times. And I think them that front two are a handful for any team in this league. And they'll be what Gary needs to climb the league and obviously give them a chance to get into the playoffs, because they're vitally important to them. But I felt second half we was always going to leave ourselves a little bit stretched in having to try and push up the pitch, and any ball in behind might cause us a problem. But I thought we handled it quite well. It was just once there where David Longkin got caught with the ball bouncing, and he should have gotten the ball a little bit quicker and cleared it. But I think overall, when you look at what Dean's had to do over the last 2 games, we haven't defended poorly. So we just got to improve in that forward area and try to score more goals.
Crucially, we're still outside the bottom 2. Next week we've got Welling United at Clarence Park. They were in free fall. They picked up a bit of late.
Yeah, exactly. They brought some different personnel in, obviously, in terms of the manager. They brought some different personnel in terms of players, and they've had a great result last week and a good result, obviously, today. I noticed they went down to 10 men quite early, so to go to Hemel and get all 3 points is obviously a good result. I mean, Hemel's form hasn't really been to the level as what it was at the start of the season. So, but again, we've got to make sure we train hard on Tuesday and Thursday, and make sure we plan, and if we can replicate the first 20 minutes here again for 90 minutes. That's the difference. Is we have really good spells, and I've been saying it all season to you, is when we have our good spells we don't put teams to bed, but when we have our poor spells teams put us to bed. And I think that's probably been the story of the whole season. I said that in there just now. And the players have worked extremely hard. I can't criticise any of the players for their work rate. It's just that little bit of quality, or that little bit of endeavour, or just holding the ball up in certain areas will improve us as a team, and improve us as a group, and get us up the league, because that's what we have to do in the final 14 games now.
Since we last saw you, you put Taylor Miles out on loan at Cheshunt. It sounds like he's had an interesting day today.
Well, I've just been told apparently he's been sent off, so as I said, I'll speak to Taylor over the weekend just to see what's happened and how it's gone about, and obviously speak to Craig Edwards, because obviously straight red, I don't know what it's for, but we'll have to have a look at it, or they'll have to have a look at it and make the decision from that side of it. But at the moment, yes, he is our player, but he's Cheshunt's player for the next 4 weeks, so we'll have to see what that is from that side of it.
And you brought in some extra people off the pitch as well. Steve Conroy, former manager of Kings Langley and Bolton Casuals, former City player, of course, 7 games back in mid-80s to about 90 or 91. And one of his assistants, I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, Steve Horney as well. Yeah,
exactly. We've just been looking at some different areas where we need to improve, and one of them was on the training pitch. And speaking with Chris Winton, since he's been in, there's sort of 19, 20 people playing on a third of a pitch, so it will allow us to shorten the training sessions up and do a lot more of the smaller 4 versus 2s, 3 versus 2s, and things along them lines we want to work on before we go into a larger scale game on a training session, so that will allow from that side of it. And as you know, we've brought the GPS systems in, and we've brought the analysing side of it to try and improve us all over the park, and that's the area that we've looked at probably over the last 2 or 3 weeks. But it's an area that we need to just let people concentrate on that, and then give us the results on a Sunday and a Monday, which we can then give to the players on the beginning of the week, and let them look at their performances. So they're all the areas we need to try and improve in. We've been a long way behind some of the clubs in the league already on that side of it. So we've managed to get that just before Christmas. We've started to use it since really the Hemel game on the 1st of January, and I think we've seen some positive results in terms of what we're trying to do. But again, that doesn't make it right on the pitch in terms of trying to keep clean sheets and score goals. That's more on the physical side of stuff that we're looking at.
Yeah, I agree with you. I can't imagine Jimmy Greaves chalked up too many miles in his career.
There you go, David. So it's looking at all that stuff in terms of and other areas in terms of where we're looking to improve. But as you say, it doesn't score your goals, and it doesn't keep clean sheets, and that comes down to personnel at the end of the day.
Right, one final thing. Tom Bender went off in the first half today. How's he looking?
Just feeling his quad a bit. It's hopefully it's not too serious, but he did feel that the minute he started to run, he could feel it. He couldn't strike a ball at all with it. So we'll have to see over the next 24, 48 hours how that settles down. But being on the thigh muscle as well from that side of it, it's quite a big muscle. So it was a bit tender after the game. He's iced it, but we did get him off quite quick. So hopefully he's quite a quick healer. Where he'll be fit for next week, we'll have to wait and see.
Lovely, thanks so much, Ian. And we'll see you next week when the Saints, as we say, are at home to Welling United in National League South. Somebody remind me of a date. 1st of February. Kick off at Clarence Park is at 3 p.m.